Sounds good.
Okay.
Hi, this is Dr. Ron Suarez with Broadband Institute. In this session, we're going to be taking a look at how to use Google Earth to find line of sight before considering fixed point wireless. So we have a clear line of sight, for example, from the rooftop of one building to the rooftop of another. In future sessions, we'll go into what you do with that later on. And today I'm joined by Caleb and Nikki. Nikki is coming on board as our community broadband manager, and Caleb is volunteering to help out with this. And I'll just point out that I've known the two of you basically all of your lives since you were little kids. So thank you for staying connected and being a part of this. So Caleb, I'll let you take over now and inform Nikki as to what to do. And you may have to alternately share your screen depending on where we are at in this. So Caleb, do you want to start off asking Nikki to install Google Earth and guiding her through that?
Yeah, sure. Here, I will share my screen now. Oh, I thought I had gotten good at it.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I've got to move that over now. Okay. So I've now overlapped the window with our pictures.
Okay, perfect. If we're ready to go, so
Yep.
the first step is there's a couple of things that I think you need, and there's a couple of things that I think are helpful for this process. One is kind of starting with the easiest thing first. Pen and paper, pencil and paper is a good thing to have, just to write down. Like if you're looking at multiple locations, it's good to be able to, just stay looking at the map and write down a few places, and then come back later and add points as you go. The other thing that you will definitely need is Google Earth Pro, which is not just the web-based version, it's a program that you install. So it's, I think for me, probably because I've Googled it before. If you just search Google Earth Pro, it should be the first thing that comes up. And if you click the download link and scroll to the very bottom, it will take you to this download link where you can download it, accept their terms and conditions, and
All right, just a moment. I think my laptop was glitching from the call for a second. 1 second.
And how old is your laptop, Nikki?
I think I got it at the beginning of 2020, so I guess it's going on 2.5 years. It's not
Okay.
too old.
All right. I know that some older machines will not work with Google Earth Pro.
Oh, so do you think my laptop?
We
might
will
work?
find out in a moment.
Okay.
I think it should be okay.
All right, the website is loading, and then you said you go to the bottom of the home page.
yes, I believe so.
Nikki, are you able to see the screen that Caleb is sharing?
Yes, but it's sort of because I have to go back and forth between my own web
Yeah.
browser. So let's see. Download Earth Pro on desktop. I click that link, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Accept and download. It's downloading.
So I think we can wait for that down because there is maybe another thing that you might need to download, which is a kind of Scratchpad or code editor. Notepad++ works for me.
On the Mac, I think that's a PC only notepad.
Right.
So on the Mac, I have been using Brackets.
Brackets?
Yeah, all the way on the left. The black brackets inside the blue square.
So brackets.io looks like the right thing, correct?
Yep.
Okay, I have that open too.
And we'll need this a little bit later, but once your Google Earth Pro download is complete, we can hop into that.
Okay, should I wait to do download for this now, or just start it as well?
I would just click download and get it, starting to install, and then.
I think Google Earth just finished, so I'm gonna open that.
Okay, perfect.
It's possible that I have to open something and download it again. Okay, the final step, it says less than a minute, so it should be soon. Sorry about the delay.
No worries.
And I read that the new building that's going up behind the Michigan Theater is going to be 19 stories.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's a candidate for demanding rights of way for public access to something like that. But with these kinds of buildings springing up all around Ann Arbor, it means that because we have a line of sight today, we might not have that same line of sight tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, that's an interesting thing that we'll have to contend with in the future to keep in mind. I think it just said it finished, and I'm trying to locate it on my desktop here. Okay. It has opened, so that's the good news.
Good place to start.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Caleb, do you know, is there an export of your places? And if you don't know off the top of your head, we won't worry about it.
So these kind of pins are stored, I believe, as the stock KML files. So I can put them in a folder and zip them up and send them along. If that's what you're meaning.
All right. Well, we won't worry about doing that right now. I was just curious if you've ever done that, because Nikki will be starting from scratch, and that's a good thing because we want to see her starting with a blank slate and how she's able to visualize the city.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And
So,
Caleb, at whatever point you feel like you want to see Nikki's screen, we'll have her screen share and you can direct her.
okay, perfect.
So I do have Google Earth Pro open, and it's just showing like a blank globe focusing on North America.
Okay. So if you go, for me it's the top left, but there's a search bar, so I think you can just type Ann Arbor, and it, regular Google should pop you right to that location.
Okay.
And if we want to, I'm not sure if it would get to the 777 building, just because I know that's a place that might be a good place to start.
And the 777 building is the place where we are able to get a backhaul from 123.net. 123.net is a middle mile provider with thousands of miles around of fiber around Michigan. In addition to which, that same group is a founder of the Detroit Internet Exchange, which is in the Southfield area.
Okay. And so Caleb, do I type in the address of this? Should I also type in this 777 address now?
Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to get there. So there's a couple of things to just kind of get the hang of, which the first is the mouse tools, just scrolling, panning, and then also rotating the map. And if you ever need to, if your screen ever gets kind of askew or something, like this, where now I'm seeing trees instead of when you need to see, just clicking that search button should get you back to the right place.
Okay, it'll zoom out again.
Yep.
And are you just like clicking on the map? Is that how you're adjusting it, or?
Yeah. So for panning, so kind of moving, up, down, left, right, kind of north, south, east, west as well.
So you're doing a left mouse
clicking
button. You're holding the left mouse button when you do that.
Yeah, I have a mouse, so that's what I'm doing. And then since
I don't have a mouse, just so you guys know, but I'm able to do it just by clicking on my laptop pad.
Let's see if control kind of does the same thing.
Well,
Shift.
Control click is right mouse click.
Yeah. So right mouse click, or maybe double clicking the mouse, or shift click should allow you to pan, or not pan, rotate.
Yep.
So you can kind of see how tall things are, which is important for line of sight.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm able to do it with shift and click on my Apple MacBook. So
perfect.
Yeah.
And
so the main,
Caleb, there's a point at which you will need to determine the height of the building, correct?
Yes. So I'll get into that. So there are two main tools that we use for line of sight. First one is a place mark, which is really good for getting the location of things. So for me, it's this first little button next to the hide sidebar. Looks like a little arrow or little pin. And you can drag this pin around, and you can actually, if it'll let me, you can drag it inside the building, or kind of like within the bounds of the building, which is kind of useful for locating it where you want. And I'm not terribly precise at the moment with how I place the place marks, but generally, good rules of thumb are. I'll get into how exactly to do this, but trying to place them towards kind of the edge of the building, and then figuring out the height of the buildings that they're on the roof. So I've placed this place mark kind of on this. I guess it would be the northwest edge, northwest corner of the East 777 building, which is where I've kind of been using the vantage point that I've been using to do a lot of these line of sight calculations.
And
so
Caleb,
sorry to interrupt, but I'm having a hard time. So the shift and click allows me to change the perspective so that I'm eye level with the building. but it doesn't really allow me to zoom in effectively to the building close up. So how do I do that again?
Might that
Zoom, I
be
think.
multiple
Or just-
fingers on the trackpad?
Sorry?
Might that be 2 fingers?
Oh, maybe, yeah. Um, Yeah, yep. That's working.
And Caleb, question: the place mark, is that just latitude and longitude, but not altitude?
So a place mark is, right now, it is only latitude and longitude. But you can see there's an altitude tab if on the far right. Currently, it's clamped to the ground, so it doesn't really have any. But if you change that to, I find relative to ground to be the most helpful. That allows you to adjust it. I think you can do it in feet too. So let's say 50 feet. And I did that kind of wrong. There's actually a better way to do that. But if you change it, okay, it looks like it's just doing meters for now, which is fine. But you can change the altitude relative to the ground. So I think this is about 40 meters. And if I shift to a different tab, it'll boost that place mark up. And now you can see it's kind of, right on the edge of the
Yep.
building.
And I can
And-
see some antennas on the roof there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see some, I think, too. So I'm actually going to boost that up maybe another, let's say 2 meters, just so we're definitely above that edge there. That should be good.
And
Okay, what was
the other way we could have done this was to somehow determine the height of the building. You guessed that it was 40 meters.
Yeah, generally the way I've been doing this is kind of close to guess and check, but if you know the height of the building, that's probably the best way to do it. But especially for a lot of the kind of quick analysis, this allows you to get a lot of locations quickly and spend less time Google searching. But if you
Oh,
have 2
and-
locations that you know for sure.
Does Google Earth help you to know the height of the building?
I haven't seen. Actually, I think you can actually. Okay, that makes sense. So if you where your mouse is, where your cursor is, on the bottom right, it should tell you the statistics of how high a point is. So
I
right
see.
now I'm on the pavement, and it's at
Oh, I see
155 feet.
elevation. Yep.
Yep. And then going up, it's at 983 feet about. 980 something.
Where are you seeing the height? On the bottom?
Underneath
on
where
the-
it says Google Earth.
I think my zoom bar is covering it.
Oh.
Okay, now I can see it. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so that's a quicker way to tell. So I'm going to go ahead and name this real quick, just 777, keep it short and simple for right now.
How did you do that? You clicked? Sorry, you kind of did it quickly. I didn't see.
Yeah, my apologies. So
Okay.
once the place mark is placed, if you, for me, it's right click, click properties, and that allows you to change, all of the data of this place mark. So you can go back and change the altitude if it's wrong. You can change the view that it has, styles, names, coordinates, coordinates.
So when I click on it, it just kind of has a generic menu, and it has cut, copy, delete, rename, save as place, directions from here to here, snapshot view, show view shed, but it doesn't say properties anywhere that I can see. So mine looks different than yours. It says get info on the bottom.
What does Git input do?
Oh, actually, you know what? I should have just clicked on that. I think it does the same thing. It's just probably a Mac versus PC thing. Okay.
Yep, that makes sense.
Well, I'm glad that one of us is using PC and one is using a Mac, so that whoever's watching this from whatever system they're using, it'll be useful. Great.
So, perfect. So another thing that's really useful that you can do when you right click on a place mark is the Show Viewshed button. And what that does is it calculates a viewshed, which in kind of easy terms is what you can see from that specific point. So everything that's kind of in this bright neon green is something that I can see, theoretically, that I can see if I was standing where this place mark is. And if you zoom out, you can see it's got about 5-mile radius, I think.
Okay.
And it's not very precise detail. One of the issues is that, like, let's zoom in over here, is that this building is kind of blocky, and it's kind of hard to see what it is entirely.
Right.
And there's some weird visual effects that happen. But the light green should be fairly accurate in telling you what you can see still. So this is where the pen and paper comes in handy.
Oh, and I see the Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum, but is that the blue marker to the left and not the green on the right?
Yes. So the green on the right is the Ann Arbor City Hall. And then the white building here, which you can kind of see, is the Hands-On Museum.
Yeah.
But I'm actually just going to throw a place mark here while we're at it. We can come back to that later. Ann Arbor. Oh, that's not labeling it. Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum. We'll come back to that later.
I wasn't able to do that, find that exact spot. You kind of went a little quickly, so I wasn't sure to
Right.
find that spot, but that's okay.
Right, so let's zoom back out and go back to our place mark. So this street to the left here is State Street.
Yep.
And if we follow that road north, which you can kind of see, for me it's hidden behind my zoom icon, but it's got the cardinal directions there.
Right.
We follow that north up into town here. There's a couple of more buildings we can see. We can see the Diag. And then come over, and I believe this is Huron Street. Come to the left.
Okay, so I see the Graduate. Over to the right, that's a hotel. Used to be called the Campus Inn. So that is owned by Dennis Dahlman. So he's somebody that I may find out if we can get permission to get onto his rooftop. So Caleb, can you mark that as a Graduate Hotel?
Yeah, funny enough, I have that.
Oh, you have it in there already.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Graduate is fine.
So
this is. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I did find the Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum, and then how did you just added another pin, like with the same pin button? Is that what you did?
Yeah. That's what I did for now. This is kind of your alternative to pen and paper, as you can just quickly mark things and then come back and you can quickly mark place marks and then come back and edit them. But my preferred way to do it is instead of dropping place marks and coming back to them, but it's kind of hard for me to tell which ones I've done and which ones I haven't. This is where I write down kind of locations and points of interest. So I think one of the ones that I wrote down earlier is, if we can get it to say what this is, Okay, so this is right next to Washtenaw County Circuit Court, so I might write down building left of Washtenaw County Circuit Court. And then this one I think says the Jacket Fork, and it's just a restaurant that's in the kind of main or first level of that building, but just writing down little details on the map that I can come back to and add place marks later. So this the Varsity residence. For this one, I could write down Michigan Medicine, and all I'm doing is really looking for bits of green that are kind of highlighted in the map and writing down locations. So CS Mutz Children's Hospital. Let's find a new one that I haven't. Say Rights of Pinball Pete's. Anyway, so if you have a few locations written down, if you want to take some more time to write down a few more locations, that's fine. But if you're ready, we can kind of go on to the next part of this, which is adding place marks and confirming what the view shed shows you. Because this is kind of a more simple analysis, but with drawing lines, with the next tool I'll show you, you can get a much more detailed view. So.
So I'm going to look up the address for Arrowwood Hills, because that is a special housing complex where people own the units, but it's affordable.
Okay.
And they could conceivably be a candidate for an alternative to the incumbent ISP.
Search. Might be some strips in there that we could see. That might just be in here on islands, but there might be enough there.
No,
So-
when I first did the instruction to add the highlighted spaces of the point of view, the green spaces, it did show up, but when I zoomed out again and went downtown, it doesn't show up like it does on your screen for some reason. Just thought I'd point that out.
Okay, so you can actually do this as well. So currently I'm zoomed in on Arrowwood Community Center. I think if you again right click and click Show View Shed again, it should recalculate it and show you everything that's there.
Okay.
So what are high areas that are where we might be able to have a relay to get to Arrowwood? I see Leslie Park soccer field. I don't know if that's up on a hill.
Yeah, so I think the time has come for us to exit the view shed, because it does kind of make the map a little bit harder to see.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a place mark down, and let's do a few
And how
different
do
places.
you, for some reason now, I know you explained it earlier, but how do you move, like if the pin drops in a random location a few blocks away, how do you move the pin? Because I click on it and it won't move.
Click and drag.
Yeah, for me it's click and drag.
So maybe double.
Which on
Worst case,
trackpad is a little bit, at least for me, it's hard to do with my partially paralyzed fingers.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Just having,
So-
I did it at first, and now I'm having a hard time for some reason.
Another way that you can do it is if you put your cursor in the location and you have this window up where it says new place mark, you can find what the coordinates are. So this one is 2963 and 3707. And yeah, let's do that. Is you can just directly edit the numbers here.
So you just open the pin button and then you put your mouse cursor over the location and it should pop up the address or the latitude and longitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 3707. Okay.
I see what you mean on the bottom again. Yeah.
Yep.
So Leslie Park is, how many feet was 777 building?
On the ground level at the 777 building was 845 feet, and the place where we put the pin was 985 feet about. So it's kind of right in the middle.
So the elevation that we see down here is elevation from sea level or elevation from the ground there?
This is elevation from sea level
Yeah.
that it would be showing you. I think, yeah, this is a tree, which is why it's going up, but that might be a useful tree. We'll see. And then I saw a bit of green over here in here as well. I'm not sure if this is part of the same community though.
No.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to see if, if we look back south, and maybe zoom out a bit so we can get an idea of where we're trying to look, which are these buildings over here, way far away, but we can kind of see where that pin is now. If we come down, you can kind of get an idea of what you might be able to see.
Okay.
Now, it looks like there's some buildings in our way here, which might be part of the issue. So I think my instinct is that maybe a building that's kind of in this corner, maybe right about here. I'm going to say this building right here. Is going to be where
I see that's 921.
Yeah, and that's a good height. So
Yeah.
let's mark field and we'll leave that one clamped to the ground. This one, however, we'll put a place mark here. We'll put it kind of along the spine, and then that says 922 feet about.
Sorry, I kind of got lost again of how you got to this location. I went to the Arrowwood Community Center, and
Right. So what I did is, I can kind of see where our place mark is way off in the horizon over here. It's right under my cursor. And based off of that, I'm trying to see with my own eyes, where we might find a gap for this sensor for the relay to fit.
For some reason too, I just wanted to point this out, maybe because my computer or laptop is a little older, I don't see, it's not as detailed imaging as you have. So I don't see the buildings as clearly as you do. It's more like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just more flat and it doesn't show the buildings as well.
Are you still in the view shed?
I'm not sure.
It should be, if you look underneath the
exit view shed.
Yep. So the downside of the view shed is it will significantly decrease the quality of the image that you see, which is why it's important to write down the locations.
Okay.
Or record them in some way. So this looks to be, I think, about 8 meters high. Let's see. Let's change it. View it from the side. That seems fairly legit. There's a couple of trees in the way, but we'll see what happens.
And if not, Leslie Park Field seemed to have a line of sight. So, it's conceivable that, well, I wonder, in Leslie Park, are there any buildings onto which we could put an antenna?
That looks like
and
a
get
play
power.
structure. That's a hill. That could be useful. There's the back of this tennis court here too.
Oh,
Uh,
is that some kind of sign or
I'm not sure.
something for the tennis court?
Might be like a scoreboard, maybe of some sort.
Uh-huh. So
Uh,
the top of that could conceivably be a place to mount, especially if there's electricity there for a scoreboard.
Yeah. There's also this hill here, which
Is that an ancient burial mound?
perhaps.
You
But
might
yeah,
have
so
issues using that if it's protected or something.
true.
That was a joke.
Oh, okay.
In any case, we're not going to definitively pick the place. We're really just demonstrating how to use Google Earth. We'll defer our precise choices till later,
Okay.
and whatever techniques we learn about in this session, we can apply to investigating other buildings.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's assume if we pick a spot that somehow, we could put an antenna there.
Yeah. So now that we have a few locations, the next tool that we're going to use, is a show ruler. And what this is it draws a line, which you can actually just draw anywhere for the purposes of what we're doing.
Sorry, how did you get to that again? It's on the top bar.
Yeah, I'll go back. So if you go to the right of the place mark past the little planet thing,
Yep.
notice a little planet for me, and
Oh, I
it
see
should
it.
say show ruler.
Yep.
And the cool thing about this is we can just draw kind of an arbitrary line. We don't really care where it goes. We can, maybe if we want to be a little bit precise, we can kind of draw it in the same kind of general place as where we did before. But it's not terribly important. What is important is that we press save. And that we made it, so we'll say this is Leslie Park Hill 777. And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into altitude, and I think all we need to do is relative to the ground, and then click extend path to ground.
And then okay.
Yep. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say click or right click on that line that we created and save place as. And currently it's a KMZ file, and we want to change it to a KML file, which will allow us to edit the line.
Sorry, one second. So you right click on the line itself?
Yes, so this one I named LP Hill to 777.
Okay, got it. And then you go to
Save place as.
got it.
Yep. And then for me, it's a little drop down where you can change it from KMZ to KML.
KML, yep.
And that's all we need to do in Google Earth. Hit save.
Yep.
And then this is where your notepad comes in.
Okay.
And what you don't want to do is what I just did, which is click on it because it's just going to show you the line. What you want to do is, for me, it's right click and then open with Notepad. For you, it might be slightly different.
And you're right clicking on the line you just drew again?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, it would be double clicking, 2 fingers on the trackpad, and then open with, and then pick brackets.
1 second. Open with, I don't see that as an option. So I right clicked and then it says, you know, cut, copy, delete, rename, revert, save to places, save place as, emails.
Oh, yeah. So you want to go into your file browser. For Mac, it would be Finder. For me, it would be File Explorer.
Okay, so I'm going into Finder. Okay.
Yeah. Once you've saved it to a location that you can find locally, go to Finder.
You mean the search bar in Google Earth?
No, locally on your Mac.
Yeah, sorry.
In the Finder, Nikki.
In the Finder on Google Earth?
No.
On your Mac. So.
Okay. Just like on the.
Outside of Google Earth.
Okay, got it.
You're just on the Mac in your Finder.
Okay. Okay, and then what do I do in the Finder?
You should have a file that should say like whatever you named your file. Should, like for me, it's LP Hill 2777.
Okay.
And then for me, it's right click. For you, it might also be right click or double click or something.
Yeah,
like
it's right click.
Like,
Right click,
Yep.
open with on the Mac.
I'm having a hard time opening my Finder. I don't know
Okay.
if it's maybe because I have so many things open, but
Nikki, go
yeah.
Command Tab into brackets if it's open. Otherwise, open brackets. And
Okay.
then from brackets, navigate to the file to open it.
I'm opening brackets now. Sorry, yeah, my laptop is just being very slow right now. I'm not sure why.
no worries.
Okay. It won't open the brackets either.
Command Tab, see how many applications do you have open?
A few. I mean, I have, you know, obviously the
Well,
internet.
quit extra things.
Okay.
Maybe you're running into memory constraints.
Yeah.
And brackets should not be that memory intensive. You should be able to open it. So Nikki, just keep us informed as to what's happening.
Yeah. So it says verifying brackets, and there's like a long downloading thing, and it's still downloading. I don't know. It might just be verifying it, taking a while.
I'm wondering if Caleb, are there other things that maybe we should just move on to? Not have Nikki open brackets in this session?
Um, yeah. I can just quickly run through what it should look like.
Yeah.
Sorry
why
to
don't-
interrupt. It did just open right now, so
Perfect.
Okay,
No worries.
finally.
So actually, as it turns out, I just remembered that there's a couple of things that we still would like to do in Google Earth.
Okay.
So the place marks that you have, kind of in the left-hand places bar,
Mhm.
good thing to do is to do the same save place as a KML file, just
Okay.
so you have that file to reference.
Okay, so as KML for all of them.
Yep. So I'm just going through and saving all of them, and then what I will do
Seems
is
I'm
go ahead,
sorry to
sorry.
interrupt. I was just saying on my computer, it seems the default is to save it as KML for the locations. I'm not sure why.
Yep, that's a good thing.
Yep.
So going to go ahead and open all of these in Notepad for me. For you, brackets works well, and you can just open one or open all.
And do you do that just by searching for the name?
So for me, if I go to open, and then for me it would be in recent files. Let me see if I could do the same kind of thing.
Graphics doesn't have anything that says open. I don't-
So if you go to File,
Yep.
in brackets,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Open.
Mhm. Okay, and then just open all of the locations?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I only made like 4 locations so far, but I believe
That's all right.
all of them.
Okay. So what we want to do is, if you go to your location, so this one is for me, Leslie Park Hill.
Mhm.
What you want to do is, at the very bottom is the coordinates. And all you're going to do is between the coordinates tags, is grab the numbers. Make
Like
sure to grab the
highlight.
commas as well.
Highlight them. Okay.
Yep, control copy, or command copy
Mhm.
on Mac.
Yep.
And then on your line file, for me is LP Hill 2777, is the first set of coordinates, which you'll notice, for me it would be like -83. It's a set of 3 numbers.
Okay.
So -83, 42, and then 272 is the altitude. I'm just going to paste over all of those values with the values from that first location file.
Okay. So just paste over the first values. Got it.
And then you should have the 3 numbers from your location file, and then a set of 3 other numbers.
I think I might have done it wrong because it's like 2 numbers and it says coordinates at the end now.
Okay, if you want to share your screen, now might be a good time.
Okay.
And then we can kind of work back. So I will stop sharing for a moment.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, all you have is you have a coordinates tag. So if you delete from the, I forget what they're called, but just, delete everything that isn't a number.
Okay.
To the 0, and then you're good. Perfect. And then go to, I guess that is wrapped. So if you, I just want to make sure that there's no weird white space. If you click in the second row below that, right in front of the negative, yep, click delete a few times. Oh, okay. Put a 0, and then a space. And then you're perfectly fine.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it was looking a little different from yours, so I wanted to make sure it was correct.
Right, of course. So I'm going to share my screen again real quick.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we have one of the locations of the line set up. Now we just need the other one, which for me is the 777 building. So we're going to go ahead and do the same kind of thing. Grab the 3 sets of numbers from the coordinates on the bottom line of the file.
And
Copy.
this is from the 777?
Yeah.
I might have not opened that one.
If not,
For some reason, that doesn't come up under my options.
okay. So these are 10-digit coordinate codes. And I think probably 5 gets us in the right ballpark, at least. So if you copy 83 through probably 737483, that should get us at least in the right ballpark.
No, what I'm saying is, when I went to open the locations, the 777 building doesn't even show up for some reason.
As a file?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that still should be fine.
Okay.
Because all we need is the coordinates from that file. So if you have the coordinates and the altitude, then you're set. So for you can probably just type them in. So if we go back to the file, I'll actually just do the same thing as you. But I'm going to have them here as reference because I like to, in this case, cheat. So, like, let's say these are the old coordinates, pretend they're the same, and I did change them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little space so I know what I'm typing. And then go back a character so that I'm 1 space away from, for you it would be the 0. Just from the last set of numbers, last set of 3 numbers. So negative 83 point. I'm just copying the first couple of characters. Let's go from.
So sorry to interrupt. I'm a little lost again.
Okay.
So I'm still on the same page, right, that you were looking at when we were screen sharing. And then right before the second number, I start typing this?
So you have 2 lines of numbers,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. You can delete that second line,
Just
or
delete.
you can keep it there just to know that you have some numbers there,
Okay.
right? And that the formatting is correct.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is I'm just putting this in between those numbers, and then I will delete that that last set of numbers once I've copied them over.
Okay. So negative 83.7 is where you start.
Yep, 737483 should get us hopefully in the right ballpark. We're just copying the format, so gonna put a comma, then 42 244 829, then comma, then 42. And then I'm just going to go back and delete everything that I put there. So,
You mean delete the other numbers after it?
yep. So you should have that row 6 numbers. So I have an 8375. 42,309, and then a 4.999, and then a space, and then 83,737, comma 42.244829, comma 42.
Okay. Mine are just showing up as one line now. Is that okay?
Yeah, that should be fine.
All right. Cool.
And one way to check this is that if you go to the left, as long as the line count says 35, I think
Yep.
that should be good.
Yep.
I think I saw it was 35 on yours as well, and that's,
Yep.
yeah. It might not always be 35, obviously, like some of these tags might not be there, but as long as it's all on the same line, it should be good.
Okay, great.
So after we've done that, all we're going to do is click Save, and then we're going to go back to File Explorer, and or for you it would be Finder,
Okay.
or actually the way to do this might be to go to Google Earth.
Okay.
Then we're going to click Open,
Good.
and then the file that we just saved, we're going to open that. And
Is the LPH held to 777, right?
yes, I'm going to turn off the visibility on the old one. And
So it's zoomed way out.
Yep.
And it's
for me, it's got a red line.
I did something very strange. It zoomed way out to like the middle of the ocean for some reason. I'm not-
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
Do you want to share your screen real quick?
Okay, sure. Right. My screen. Okay. Are you seeing it?
I probably need to click in. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop my share real quick. Okay. I see 1 point. Not see the other.
So I hit
Uh,
file open, right?
Yep.
And then I clicked on this, right?
Yep.
And I hit
Click.
open.
Yep.
And I say
Yes.
yeah. That's what
Yep.
I did last time. And then look, it zooms out again to the ocean. To actually close to Africa for some reason.
Okay.
Interesting.
Caleb, do you want to just copy the coordinates into the chat?
Yeah, let's, so if you don't mind going to your code editor real quick, let's
Okay.
take a look at that line.
So this
Uh,
is the brackets, right?
Yep. Oh, I see. So at the very beginning of 83, or first character and the line 35, you have 2 negatives, which might be doing something weird.
Oh, strange. I didn't even type that there. I'm not sure how that happened. Okay.
Yep. Sometimes that happens with copying, pasting, and all the rest. So, okay.
Yeah, that should be the only issue then.
Yeah, try saving it, and let's see if that does the trick.
Okay. It can sometimes be the smallest things. I'm glad I'm having these issues so people might benefit.
Yeah, that is the issue with coordinates, is like you make one small error and then you're hundreds if not thousands of feet off.
Yeah. That's all it takes. So open, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Um,
It's doing something.
that is very weird. If you right click on that line in the temporary places, like that L,
Mhm.
L, yep. And then there's no zoom to it. I wish you could do that. Yeah. So a fast way to do this is just to type Ann Arbor in the search box, and that should get us back.
Right.
Because what we're doing is kind of a visual process here. Anyway.
Okay. Here's all my pins.
Yeah. Now if you zoom in, Okay. That doesn't look like it's showing.
Did I zoom into 777 or?
No, that's fine. And then if you go back to the places tab on the left, yep, scroll to so you can see that line. Then right click on it again. Then get info. I think it's probably the thing you want. Then click the altitude tab. Okay. Well, that is doing the right thing.
Relative to ground, send path to ground.
Yep. Style and color, maybe, might be the only other thing. Okay, well. Click OK. I will show you what should happen on your screen.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're running out of time, so
Yeah.
we may
Yeah.
continue a second session in the future.
Okay.
So, as we can see, we have this
So,
red line here.
Caleb, we need to bring your screen back up.
Yep. Are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So as you can see, we get this red line that runs straight through Ann Arbor, and this black kind of overshadow, which shows you just about how high the line is. And this is a bit of a visually intensive process, but all you're going to go and do is just go and look through and see what might be interfering with that line. So.
And I see we might be going through some trees at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trees are right at the edge of the line.
Yep, and so we're just gonna walk through. Definitely looks like we might go through some trees, maybe a lot of trees.
Yeah.
But oh well, it looks like here it
There's
is.
a building.
So there is a building here. Unfortunately, it goes straight through the hospital.
That would not work.
So, yep, that is something that will not work.
We've ruled out
And
something.
yeah, and yeah, there's a little gap through the hospital here where maybe if we line it up just right, maybe we could go through that gap. But that is the thing that we're in the shadow of. And actually, if we come over the hill here, we're running into even more trees. And so this is just the one that's on top of the hill. So that's our issue there. But let me show you one that does hopefully do the right thing. Let's try that. Of course, they're all named Test Line 1. Great job, self. So I will make a few of these visible. So yeah, earlier I drew about probably 10 test lines, but as you can see, I think there was one from The Graduate, which you mentioned earlier, so let's take a look at that one. So this one just has a pin kind of on the southwest corner here. All we do is go back, trace along the line. There's this building here, which doesn't quite interfere with it, which is a good thing, but if someone put a skyscraper there, it would be maybe bad.
Yeah.
We just trace along the line. It doesn't look like there's any trees that we really need to worry about. It's well above the trees. It's well above the CVS here, and now I can I'm fairly certain that there's nothing that's going to get in the way. And as you can see, come back, finally get to the building, and it doesn't look like there's too much in the way there. So. Actually, I think this is kind of a funny one here, is that there's this bus, there's an antenna in the Ann Arbor bus parking lot that is almost tall enough to get in the line of sight. And I think that actually might be the one that's going to CS Mott Children's Hospital. No, that goes to the building that Pizza House is next to. Never mind. But
Okay.
Yeah, you just want to go along the line, check and see if there's any kind of potential interferences, and how high those interferences might be. And then from there, you know, you can kind of play with it a bit, like maybe we want to say, like, okay, let's put a bigger tower on the 777 building roof, right? So instead of a 2-meter tower, we have maybe a 5-meter tower. And then, yeah, it's just the same kind of process where we go back and we edit the line and the notepad and try and just game the system a bit so that you get a clear line of sight, and a nice unbroken line of sight. That's the general process. I haven't found out a way to do this, super. Trying to find the word.
Efficiently?
Yeah. Yeah, or programmatically would be a nice way to do it, right? Yeah, there might be a few ways combined with the view shed where, like, if you could send a view shed like right along the line, that might be a great way to do it. You know, this is kind of the, you know, quick but inefficient way of, you know, kind of going and checking line of sight. So.
All right. Well, Caleb, thank you so much for staying on for some extra time here. And Nikki, I know that you need to go. So I'll be in touch with the two of you about possibly planning a session 2.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much, Caleb, for showing me. I know I was, you know, having some issues, but that's probably part of the.
That's part of what we want to show people. Is
exactly.
What are the issues you'll run into?
Yeah, thank you for being a willing audience. I appreciate the participation.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, bye, everyone.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye, Caleb.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank you.